Van life is bullshit.
New Honda Civic hatchback just wasn't cutting it. But luckily for me, my videographer Gabe actually has the perfect van. I just had to convince him to let me borrow it. Hey buddy.
This is it, eh?
Yeah, so the thing is my girlfriend actually really needs the car for school right now.
Okay.
Using Gabriel's van and switching up social media platforms to cross-promote onto my Instagram, I made the ultimate romantic, cinematic van life experience video.
So, I wanted to make this video because I don't want to fall into the trap of other nomad channels that I watch, some of which only show you the good and leave out all of the bad shit that happens. I even had a few people comment that I'm being too negative and shit. I'm just trying to give you an accurate picture of what my life is like out here. Before you do major life-changing fucking decisions. There's people that throw caution to the wind, and because they see, a certain YouTuber they follow do shit on the internet, that they make these major life-changing decisions. And I repeatedly tell you, do not do this based on my videos or anything else. Do your homework, experiment, do a trial run. These are all things that you should do before you make a leap into becoming a nomad. Now, my reasoning is very valid for becoming a nomad. As you can see on the screen back here, there's I also look for people that are talking about the negatives of this lifestyle, and there are many. And I've experienced all of them at one time or another. I've had cops sweat me in Walmart parking lots, but they didn't come knock. They did, however, park right behind me and run my plates. I've had a few situations that were sketchy enough to make me move and leave the area. I've had a number of knocks as a truck driver out here. People, I've had lot lizards knock. I've had people begging knock. I've had people asking me to leave or move my truck. These are all things that have happened. I've even in a truck stop been asked to move because of that stupid fucking reserve parking bullshit, which, at the current truck stop I'm staying at, without getting into specifics, has 3/4 of their lot is marked as reserve, and you got to pay like $25 to park in a spot. And I'm like, that's almost like a hotel. That's a cheap fucking meth addict hotel somewhere, And I'm like, I'm out here trying to work, and on top of that, you're making us wear masks and your shit and all that other stuff. Don't get me started. I'm trying to stay, but I'm still triggered about all of that. But I want to stay focused on the topic of this video, and that is, I want to try and go over some of the misconceptions about this life. Now, while it is freedom and does provide me an escape from the current bullshit, I've been kind of keeping up with the van life community, and it's not all roses. Plus, I have a friend of mine who's messaging me directly, who's just leapt back into van life and living in a vehicle, who's having a horrible experience. Dave 2D, I've watched him over the years because he makes fun of the glorification of van life. He's moved it out of an RV and into a car, and he's been robbed. He's had 2 breakdowns from what I can tell, and it's a newer car, it looks like, Honda Element he's living in. And you really got to understand that this isn't for everyone. And I understand that. It's for me right now. Is it going to be for me forever? No. Eventually I'll get tired of traveling or tired of doing all of this shit, and I'll pick a spot to settle down. Now, I am very freedom-minded, and I'm looking at places that allow me to maintain my freedom. And right now, trucker life is allowing me to avoid a lot of the bullshit that's going on and make money and still get to do the travel that I wanted to do this year. Albeit fairly restricted, because you just can't park everywhere. That's the other thing. You think you're gonna be that fucker on the fucking beach parked in your van. I'm sorry, but the popularity of this lifestyle and the fact that it's glorified on YouTube is going to lead to a lot less tolerance of people that know you're living in the vehicle. So you have to stealth up, you know, or do something like what I'm doing and hop in a truck, because you're more tolerated, because you're performing a function or a service to society. But if you're just making YouTube videos and parked on the side of the fucking road, people don't like that. People, especially who are paying their rent and doing their, you know, part to, you know, support the government and the economy and all of that, you're stepping away from that when you slip in a, you know, tourism places hate you because you're not going and checking into the hotels. You're not eating in the restaurants because you stopped at Walmart because you want to save a few bucks. You know, they don't like it either, because you're not supporting their local economy and their jobs. You're not paying the taxes that maintain the streets you're sleeping on. These are all things that people fucking hate about van lifers. And to see it glorified on Instagram and Facebook and YouTube is not going to get everybody all whoa, you know. And it's a matter of perspective, you know. To me, I don't have a problem with the fact that I'm not paying rent, I'm not paying for hotels, I'm not supporting a lot of these economies directly that way. But I still do touristy shit. I pay my fees. I go into restaurants in these tourist locations, and I do spend money. But I'm also contributing to the economy by being a truck driver. So it's not like I've completely pulled out. I've just changed how I support our society. And even people who are doing full-time content creation rather successfully are supporting, you know, they're spending money, they're buying gas, they're buying groceries, they're going to tourist traps and spending money. It's expensive to travel. You know, you can do van life on the cheap, but you're going to sit around. You're not going to travel. You're not going to be doing a new fucking hike every day, because gas costs money. It costs money to travel. If you're going to be stationary and stay in one place as a van lifer, then yes, you can probably do it on $500 to $800 a month. But if you want to travel to all the national parks and go to different BLM spots and do all of that shit, that requires money. And I've gone over this in past videos, so I'm not going to dredge it up here. But it is not an easy life. Right before I came on here, I had to take one of them explosive shits. So I decided to shit in a bag, because I didn't want to go into the fucking truck stop and deal with all the mask Nazis that are in there. You know, these are all decisions that are made. Like I did laundry today, and I'm sitting in my truck today. It's kind of too warm out for me to want to go for a walk. Not to mention I'm in Oregon, and most things are restricted here. Still to this day. Now, I could go to the restaurant in the small town down there, but I drove by there and I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to cook in the truck, chill, get some fucking work done, get a video shot, might go live and do some fun karaoke tonight. You know, these are all things that I'm going to do with my time off. I'm also going to clean. You know, the truck gets dirty pretty quick, you know. I mean, and it's a little cluttered because I'm set up for entertainment right now, you know. And that's just part of this life, you know. This isn't super comfort. Everything requires effort. When I cook, it takes me a while to do dishes. It takes me a while to do all that. Much longer than if you were in an apartment doing it. But I'm willing to put up with the discomfort and the bullshit, you know, and shitting in a bag and, you know, and all that kind of stuff to keep me out of the troubled times that we're in right now, to keep me away from the more oppressive governments. Cuomo just announced a new restriction on bars, and as you know, I am a part-time DJ, and you know, seeing that that's a big death blow. The current restriction he placed is now you cannot drink in a bar without ordering food. So if any bar that doesn't serve food is fucked. And you can't stand at the bar and order your drinks or anything either. Not to mention you have to wear a mask when you're standing up. You have to be 6 feet apart at all times from other groups. And this is just not what bars are for. They're there to have a good time and to meet new people and to socialize and to, you know, be human. You know, now granted, it's not a healthy lifestyle going to bars. I don't drink, you know, but I used to. So I understand the fucking mentality of it. But still, you're going to put these places out of business. And, you know, so this lifestyle is allowing me to escape that. I know states that I can go to if I want to go sing karaoke in a bar. If I want to sit down at a poker table and play poker, which I know some of you don't like because you think it's gambling or whatnot. It's a skill game. I enjoy it. Whether I win or lose, I'm enjoying that, and I don't lose anything that, you know, I'm not sitting here waiting for my next paycheck because I lost my entire last paycheck. No, I have a set budget I sit down with, and sometimes I walk out with a lot more, you know, and that's kind of my enjoyment of it. I love the interaction, the socialness of it, and that's what I get out of the boat. But I'm not doing it all the time. It's like a special occasion type thing, and you know, these are all things that I enjoy. They cost money, so I need an income coming in, and I choose to do so by not paying rent, not, you know, paying for living expenses, and staying in a vehicle. And traveling. You know, I've been to Yellowstone, I've been to southern Utah, and I've seen breathtaking things in the mountains. I've seen wildlife, I've seen volcanic shit. I've been in the Black Hills, I've, you know, sang in a karaoke bar, I've eaten in a full capacity restaurant. You know, these are all things that we used to take for granted as normal enjoyment of life. And a lot of my friends back in New York are not experiencing these, at least not in the normal, traditional way we used to. And I'm willing to put up with all of the problems of being in this thing, from the AC still being fucking broke. I've had to put the jug on a few times to keep it manageable. It's a little above normal room temperature in here for me. So it occasionally gets slightly uncomfortable, and I have to put the jug on to get the fucking compressor to cool the fucking air down in here, because it is pretty warm, and been in direct sun. It's going to get better as the sun goes behind me and sets. It'll be easier to keep it cool in here, and I won't need to put the jug on the thing. But you know, these are all little things. You know, we're not getting a shower every day, and you know, there's a lot of inconveniences to living in a vehicle and being a nomad. I'm also away from my friends and family. I can't just go hang out, you know, at the end of the day. And you know, that's a sacrifice that's probably the hardest thing for me, is I'm missing out on a lot of time with friends and family back home. But I'll get some of that, you know. That's why I'm going back to New York, even though I fucking hate all the bullshit New York's pulling. You know, that I could get a $2,000 fine if I'm caught without my mask at some point, because somebody will call some 1-800 number saying I'm a piece of shit, or they'll fill out a thing saying I was traveling and I didn't quarantine or some shit. Who knows what could happen when I'm in New York. But I got to go back there. I got to pick up some documents. I got to visit some family and friends, and I want to go on a camping trip. You know, and you know, these are all things that this lifestyle is supporting for me right now, that had I just stayed in the room and been a full-time content creator, I would not be able to afford to do a tenth of the things I've done. I would not have all of the equipment necessary to boondock at this point, which I am now kind of isolating and boondocking here in, in the truck. Like, while I am parked in civilization, no one is really fucking with me in here. I can stay in here with the exception of fueling and showering and that kind of stuff, and social distance like a motherfucker, and sometimes I'm not doing it because I'm afraid of COVID. I'm doing it because I don't want to deal with people getting upset with me or bitching at me in the more lockdown states. So when I'm in a lockdown state, or a state that's fucked up, like Oregon and California, they're both kind of really fucked up right now. Not just in terms of that, but in the civil unrest sense and all that other stuff. Their economies are going to shit. And I just kind of stay in my truck in these places, and only get out for essentials. I had to buy groceries yesterday. I did that in Idaho, which is more open than here and less people worrying about COVID there. It's kind of important to not romanticize my lifestyle, because I don't want to be responsible for anyone making life-changing decisions. It's nice to see how I live and to see, the options, and also to hear from other people who are doing the same thing I'm doing. I've heard a lot of that, and I get feedback, and we can kind of bounce ideas off of each other, For those of you who live van life or nomadic life right now, feel free to, in the comments, mention some of the downsides of it, the worst things that have happened to you in this lifestyle. Just so that people who are considering it or fapping to the idea of it can get a complete picture of the ins and outs and goods, in the good and the bad. One thing I'm seeing is that I'm hearing a lot of complaints in the community from van lifers. You're not stealthy anymore. People know exactly what you're doing when they see you. I have noticed out here driving through the truck stops and driving down the highways, I see a whole lot more van lifers now than I used to. And the problem with that is the more people are doing it, the more exposed we are to the knock on the window, the get the fuck out of here syndrome. And while in most places there's not a hard and fast law against it, there are some states that you just can't easily do it without some serious stealth. Like California, you need to be stealth like a motherfucker, but they're more tolerant of it because a lot of people can't afford to live in a regular place there. So it's kind of, they have laws that are against it, but they're not enforcing them because they realize that a lot of homeless people who can't afford the cost of living in California are turning to van life so that their six-figure income stays in their bank account and not in the real estate market. And at some point, they may become fed up with that and start enforcing those laws again. But there's other states that could give two shits. Like South Dakota, as far as I can tell, has no ordinance whatsoever of it. And I saw an exorbitant amount of people openly living in their vehicles at the truck stop I stay at there. And you saw on the trailhead there, and I'm pretty sure at one point I was parked at the truck stop there, and there was a guy who had a pickup truck with a cargo trailer attached to it. He was living out of that. And for all I know, he was cooking meth because he was doing all kinds of weird shit. He was like pouring like fucking liquid out and into the grass and doing like weird stuff. And I had talked to him at one point, and he had said, I'm doing my work here, and stuff. I'm like, what's your work? What are you doing in there? And I didn't see any like air conditioning in this thing. I don't know how he was staying cool in there. I'm kind of curious. Maybe he had maybe he had those little swamp cooler things that you can buy off Amazon. I don't know. But, he had the 2 propane tanks on the front. Every once in a while, he'd detach and leave his little trailer there and go there. And he was there the entire time I was there. I was there for 4 days. He was there the entire time. And I saw a bunch of people in the parking lots, and you could tell that people are living in their vehicle, and they're not all living in vans. There's lots of like shitty cars. Well, we're talking, these cars are not built for comfort. They're not. You can't even fucking lay down in them, and people were sleeping in them. And I'm willing to bet that that's more out of necessity than because they watched a fucking YouTube video with a half-naked chick sitting there, you know, with everything hanging out, going, "Hey, this is great on the van life. Hey, look at my life." Meanwhile, you're lucky if you can get yourself showered and fresh that clean. For you know, I just want a little more honesty about it out of YouTube, the YouTube community. I know that's a big ask, and it's probably not going to happen. You know, it's easy to point out the highlights and not talk about the downsides. And one of the things that I'm doing, and I know some of you might not like it, is, you know, that's why I shared that video of me being miserable about the AC breaking and all of that. It's not just me complaining, it's me giving you an accurate portrayal of this lifestyle. Because I don't want to be the guy that fucking sells that this is the greatest life ever, and then you change your life and you just can't stand it for 1 second. So feel free to ask me questions in the comments about it, in terms of, you know, what the ins and outs and the ups and downs are. And for those of you also living this life, maybe I'm doing something inefficient and wrong, or maybe your impression of certain things I've said and done out here is different than what your experience is. And I've been getting some of that feedback, and you know, it's a matter of perspective. This isn't a lifestyle for everyone, but it can be one for a minimalist that, you know, and if you're trying to pay off debt or become debt free, this is a good way to do it. If you don't like being house poor or rent poor, this is a good thing that you can do. This is not a thing that you should do if you have a family or if you have a lot of social ties. You're going to be out here and away from them. Some people don't do well like that. I do fine by myself. I'm actually very comfortable by myself a lot now. Wasn't always so. Early in my trucking career, when I lived out here on the road, I constantly maintained a household, and I always wanted to go home. And I would get so stressed out and angry when I didn't get home on time and stuff like that. And now, you know, barring the occasions when I do have something scheduled and planned, if I'm a few days late, I don't get too butthurt about it. I still ride their ass because I don't want them to make it a habit. But I myself am not stressed out. I'm not like angry and upset and ready to fucking storm in and throw the keys on the desk and say, fuck you for never getting me home, you know. But I see a lot of drivers out here that are in that trap where they're paying the mortgage back home. They got the girlfriend or the wife or the ex-wife or the, you know, all of that going on back home. And they're struggling to not spend a lot of money out here, which if you're just eating in truck stops, it gets expensive. You could blow half your fucking paycheck just eating, you know, because you didn't set up a good way to prepare your meals in your vehicle. You save a lot of money just by, like, I'm good for a couple of weeks. I don't have to spend a dime. And I resupplied a lot of things. So I actually spent $160 this week. That's divided for 2 weeks worth of food and groceries and just other supplies like garbage bags and toilet paper and paper towels, which I still use way too much fucking paper towels. Water for washing my dishes costs a decent amount of money. And, you know, this is all just part of it. But I can tell you from the past that you can blow shit tons. I used to be the trucker that was always getting advances. You're allowed to take out pay advances. And I was getting advances just so I could fucking eat on the road. I've been there. I've done this. You know, because all my money went to my fucking rent and my bills back home. And I was out here just taking out my $100 advance every fucking week so that I could eat. And we're not talking healthy eating. You want to know how I got fat as a truck driver? This is how. And it's something that a lot of people get into, and they end up in that rut to where they're not taking care of themselves. They're spending way too much money eating out every day. They're buying rip-off level shit in the truck stops instead of taking, because it's not convenient to find a Walmart or a grocery store in a big rig. You know, you got to really plan it out. You got to get on the fucking GPS, look at the satellite maps, look for pictures of other trucks in the Google Maps, and that's what I do. I will research a Walmart to pull into before I get there. I'll look at Street View, I'll look at the parking maps, and that's a lot of effort just to go grocery shopping. You know, most people take for granted you just pull to the grocery store or whatnot. And, you know, and it's like that for anything I want to do that's outside of the truck stop rest area world in a truck. And sometimes it doesn't work out. Sometimes you get somewhere and there's really it's not friendly for a large vehicle. And this last Walmart was a pain in the ass. I had to back up and into the other parking lot just to pull out. Some dickhead was doing drop-in hooks and made it so I couldn't go around the back of the building, which is usually my tactic with Walmarts, is circling around where the truck deliveries go, like as if I'm delivering there and looking for a spot in that area. But I didn't have that opportunity because some other dickhead dropped his trailer right there. And this is why truck drivers are getting less welcome in these places, because truck drivers don't, you know, you don't understand. You got to treat these places and leave them how you left them. You got to not inconvenience anybody when you park there. And don't fucking camp there for fucking 3 days, and then maybe they'll be friendlier to the rest of us. But a lot of places, they don't even like trucks there. So I get in there, I buy my shit, and I get the fuck out of there. And that's really what, you know, we're not supposed to be staying the night at Walmart. Some tolerate it, a lot don't. They almost all have signs now that say no overnight parking. And that's because truck drivers and RV lifers and van lifers would go in there and leave shit all over the parking lot. It would look like a fucking homeless camp in the fucking parking lot, and that's off-putting to people that are just trying to go shopping. There's security risks, and it's all on camera. You know, I like parking at Walmarts when my Prius, because it's secure. There's a camera. You know, generally shady motherfuckers aren't going to fuck with you in a Walmart parking lot. But at the same time, you got to be stealthy as fuck nowadays, because everyone knows about van life now, and everybody has heard, oh, I just could go to the Walmart. You know, and people are camping out at Walmarts all over the place. Now, a lot of Walmarts have the signs and don't enforce them. But at the same time, you want to be as stealthy as possible if you're using Camp Walmart to survive. And you don't want to be there every fucking day. You got to move around. That's part of nomadic life, is you actually have to move. You can't keep going to the same fucking spot over and over again, because the more times you roll that dice, sooner or later somebody's going to get pissed off that you're staying there. You know, one of the locals or somebody that lives nearby, or somebody who's just angry at everything in life and doesn't like that you're living in the parking lot of Walmart, or in their neighborhood, or on that, you know, pull-off by the beach. You know, somebody's gonna knock on your fucking thing that has nothing better to do than to harass you, even though you're really not hurting anybody by being there. I gotta answer this. Like I said, it's not all roses out here, and I don't think people can be as stealthy now because of the popularity of van life on YouTube and Instagram and whatnot. And I also think that because of COVID, van life has become more difficult, because there's more people that are doing it out of trying to escape the bullshit. Like, I don't think I've ever seen as many RVs and vans on the road as I have since I've been out this year. And like, there's a lot more of them camping in the truck stops and stuff. And, you know, even here today, I'm seeing all kinds of people and vehicles staying here amongst us truckers. So But even with that, I still think it's a viable way to escape the shitty states, the ones that have really and completely destroyed your rights and your freedoms, and made life consist of going to work, going home, and going to Walmart, you know, because they're taking away or making all of the other things that you would do in your downtime suck, you know, in one way or another. And there are still some states where it's not a big problem, where you can do a lot of these normal things, albeit some of them still have a lot of the social distance and a lot of the crap, but not so much with the masks and all that other stuff, should you desire to not wear it. And also being able to do things. Some things have been closed this whole time. And, you know, I still have yet to see a live band. I'd like to see a live band doing something, somewhere. And I hear South Dakota is the only opportunity for that right now. I haven't heard about any other concerts. And if you know of any, put them in the description, especially around September time frame. I'll be looking for some place where I can go and experience some live music, even if it's a shitty band, some fucking roadhouse somewhere, you know. It's, you know, I've actually just bought Rammstein ticket for, you know, with some friends of mine next year. They Rammstein rescheduled their American tour. So I'm hoping a year from now I can actually go see Rammstein, because that's on my bucket list, for seeing one of their shows. And which hopefully in a year we're back to normal, I hope. It's hard to tell. But, you know, I'm going to be doing this a while. I don't know for how long. I might get tired of it and go back to the little room at some point. I don't know. But for now, I'm going to be a nomad. Probably until all of this bullshit is over, at the very least. If we ever return back to normal, I'll probably consider coming back off the road, hopefully with a nice pile of money to do so. But for now, I'm going to hunker down. I'm going to keep doing this, you know, trucking thing for a while. I'm going to save my money best I can, but I'm also going to do things, you know. I don't want to just stay in the box all the time and pile up money. So some of it will be spent to do some things and to actually try and enjoy my life out here. And that's my plan. And it's not always going to be fun, and you're going to see me angry sometimes in here. You're going to see me bitching and complaining about some things that go wrong in trucking. And I'm going to share that. This is a vlog, you know. A lot of you, some of you have embraced my new content on here, where I'm just vlogging, where I'm sharing my life with you. And others have taken a shit, and I can see that in the numbers. Some of you don't like my opinions on these new things, and that's fine. You know, I'm not here to please everybody. This is my life. These are my opinions, and I'm not going to pander to anybody. I'm not going to try and hold on to my YouTube channel by pandering, which I see a lot of on YouTube. I want to express myself and share my opinions and thoughts. And sometimes I'm going to be wrong about things. Sometimes I'm going to make mistakes. Sometimes I'm just going to be outright dumb. I've done dumb shit in my life regularly. It's you mark it on your calendar that I'll be doing something stupid again in the near future, you know. And that's my life. This is what I want to do with my channel now, because I think it's one of the few things I can do without worrying constantly if my YouTube channel is going to suddenly disappear. I'm still going to have opinions, and if I think it's really controversial, I'll put that on LBRY exclusively at some point. But I've been testing my boundaries here on YouTube, and although growth is done, and my channel's going to probably stagnate here at 10,000 subscribers. I don't picture growth or this being a full-time income anytime soon. I mean, it'd be nice if I could, with my vlogs and my traveling and my nomad videos, try and bring it up to speed. Keto, I feel like, is died out a bit. I've tried keeping up with some of my other keto advocates out there, and it's really hard to get people to be as concerned about the ketogenic diet and intermittent fasting when you have all of the bullshit going on in the world with COVID and whatnot. A lot of people are like, fuck it. And I was one of them in the beginning of this epidemic. I was just like, I'm just gonna, it's hard to be keto in this environment. And, I had to spend a lot of money to be able to be keto out here, which is going to pay itself back over time, I feel like, not only financially, but health-wise. And I was going through some mental health struggles because of my shitty diet that are now alleviated, which proves to me 100% that diet is my depression issue and my anxiety issue. Like, it's the biggest factor in whether or not I'm feeling down for days upon days on end. So I've gotten all of that under control, and I can't, say that I'm doing things right. I'm not the super healthiest version of keto, obviously. I'll be starting ADF in August, probably after I've pushed it back till after my home time. Once I come off of my New York home time, I'm going to stick with alternate day fat fasting, not alternate day fasting, as in there'll be fat in my coffee on the fasting days, and that's it. And water, of course. And then on the eat days, I just eat when I'm hungry. Sometimes I'll be really hungry. I don't know. We'll see how my appetite goes with ADF. And it's also dependent on my weight. Like, if I get back and I'm of a decent weight, I might just continue with just keto with no fasting. So I'm going to look and see where I'm at when I get back and weigh in from being keto. I should be fairly well fat adapted now. It's been 6 weeks since I've started my ketogenic journey out here. And, I feel pretty good as far as my energy. I've cramped up a few times. That's how I know I'm fat adapting, by the way, is I know that I'm getting those cramps again in my calves. But I've started to alleviate that by when I shower, I use Epsom salt body wash. And when I do that for a good 2-3 days afterwards, I don't have any cramp issues. But if I push it with not showering for a period of time, I tend to still get those calf cramps at night when I'm sleeping. So, but what the fuck do I know? I'm not a fucking expert. I'm just a fucking asshole. I'm going to, once I post this video and do the premiere, I'm going to try and go live on DLive for some karaoke fun this evening. So I hope to see y'all there. So if you're not following me on DLive, I'm gonna just have a karaoke and chat on there. I haven't been on there in a while. So the link will be in the description down below to my DLive channel if you want to participate in that. But it's going to be just fun, hang out. I'm going to try not to get all wound up about masks and bullshit and all of that. I'm going to try and sing and hang out, maybe talk about some of the other aspects of me being out here while trying to avoid the more fucked up topics like COVID and all of that. That's my plan for my DLive stream, so go check that out. Sign up for my free email list. I'll actually be sending out an email once this video is posted. I'm going to send out the notification about going live for some karaoke and chat on DLive tonight, which I can't do here on YouTube because of that whole pesky copyright bullshit for karaoke songs, it seems. So that's it. Thanks for watching another fucking video. sorry if I angered some of you with my previous rants and things about, but that's my opinion. This is my life. This is what I'm doing. This is my channel. This is what's here. Like it or not, that's what I'm doing. Some people don't, some people do. But I'm just going to live my life and share my journey through being a nomad, through being keto again, through fasting, through getting out and backpacking and into nature, to doing touristy shit. These are all things I'm going to do with my life, and I'm going to share it with you because I'm out here by myself. This is my outlet for socializing, I'm going to end up trying to meet some of you in this process going forward. And I feel like, you guys have been a very positive community for me for the most part. Every once in a while somebody gets toxic or shitty, and then they move on and I don't deal with them anymore. I don't have I still have a very positive community on YouTube, despite as opinionative and shitty as I can sometimes be. But I acknowledge that. I acknowledge I'm not perfect, and I'm not going to make everybody happy, and I'm not going to try to make everybody happy. And if my channel dies, my channel dies. So far, it's just stagnant. I'm getting about 1,000 views per video over time, and virtually no subscriber growth. And it's probably, I don't know if I can entirely blame YouTube for that, or if maybe just my content isn't as good as it used to be, or maybe it's because I've changed the direction of the channel to more of a vlog style as opposed to talking heads constantly. I just feel like the vlog style is better because of how polarized and divided we've been. And we definitely, I don't know. I'm just processing life the best I can, and the best way I know how is to be a nomad. So, we'll see how it goes. But do your homework. Don't make any major life decisions based on a YouTuber, especially the ones that are just fluffing you and showing you all of that Instagram fucking happy bullshit, and they're not really telling you about shitting in a bag, or AC breaking, or your vehicle breaking down and all of that. I appreciate the vanlifers that give you the full picture of everything that, like Nomadic Fanatic, his early stuff, he would share all of the good and the bad of the lifestyle. I feel like he's doing a lot more of the good of it nowadays, but he'll tell you about when things fuck up or things don't go as according to plan. And I respect the YouTubers that do that. I do not respect the YouTubers that are just painting a rosy picture that without really telling you about all of the bad things that can happen when you dwell in a vehicle and you don't have a home base. So I still have a home base, so I'm good. I can still go back to New York. I got a lot of friends and family there. That means I got couches to sleep on and pullouts to go to, and so on and so forth. So it's not like I'm out here without at least a little bit of a safety net. Plus I own my Prius. Worst comes to worst, if I lose everything else, I can end up in the Prius. And I really want to learn and grow in a nomadic way, in a minimalistic way. And I'm still working on downsizing here in the truck, because like I said, I want to be able to easily transition between the truck and the Prius. So I'm still making cuts. I think the next thing on the chopping block may even be this 4K monitor. It's nice to have when I'm live streaming, or if I want to lay in bed and watch something, it's good. But I'm finding that I'm not using it as much. I spend a lot of time just watching my phone. Like I'll be sitting up front, and I'll have the phone mounted on the fucking magnet, and I'll sit there and I'll just watch YouTube while I drink my coffee or whatever, without worrying about the big ass screen. And another thing I've done is I'll just move the laptop really close to the bed and watch shit through the laptop, because I can hook the phone to that and watch things on there. Slightly smaller screen, it's only 1080, whereas that's 4K. But I'm finding that this is just kind of taking up space most days, instead of, like, I've used it today when I'm kind of parked for 34 hours. But I think I need to start really becoming as efficient at this as possible. I need to take some of the camera gear that I have out here and actually sell it at some point, because I don't need as much. I got this little RX 100 Mark 7 and I got my Osmo Pocket, and these two cameras are the ones I'm using the most. Even though I have the GH5 out here, I have a drone that I haven't bothered to dust off and get in the air. I'm sure that would probably help with production quality if I flew it more, but a lot of times I just don't fucking feel like dicking around with it when I'm making videos, because when you work 70 hours a week as a truck driver and then you come and spend your spare time editing videos and posting on YouTube and that kind of stuff and interacting with comments and all that, doesn't leave a lot of time to do other shit, And you're getting this video today because I'm taking a large break, and this stream that I'm going to do later is because I have time to do it right now. I've got a lot of my work done. I am going to cook a meal at some point, probably while this is rendering or some shit. But, that's part of this life, is adjusting to, downside. Part of this, my life, is also embracing minimalism and really just downsizing as much as I can and still enjoy my life and be comfortable. Right now, I still feel like I have too much shit in here. And it bothers me a little bit because I'm always moving shit around and managing shit, and that's part of living in a vehicle. You're going to be, you're going to have a sleep mode, you're going to have a relax mode, you're going to have a work mode, a cook mode, a clean mode, and it's a constant, because you're transforming this smaller space constantly to suit whatever activity you're trying to do. Like, I want to make music, I gotta have a music studio mode, and it's a lot of work, actually, to do things that we take for granted that normally we just have set up all the time at home and we could just do them without much thought to it. So, not to mention I gotta budget my water when I do dishes and stuff, and these are all things that really don't get talked about, save for a few good YouTubers. I want to give a shout out to Dave 2D, because he is constantly roasting people that are bullshitting us in the van life. Unstoppable Morgan, I've shouted out in the past. She just vlogs and shares, and she's kind of newer to the lifestyle. But she shares the good and the bad. So shout out to Homeless Firefighter, who has this really awesome dry sense of humor, sarcasm, just oozing out of every video, even though he delivers it in a very monotone, militaristic style of. I just enjoy his videos just because of all the sarcasm. Especially recently, he was eating like a Beyond Burger and talking about it, as he tries to work on his health as well, being out here as a nomad. And he'll set up a fucking tray table in a truck stop parking lot and cook a meal. I'm just like, that's ballsy. I cook all my shit here in the truck when I'm at the truck stop. But, I realize his vehicle is a pickup truck, so there's that. So check out that channel. Put in the comments. I'm looking for good van life content that gives you that wholesome, honest picture. Carolyn's RV life, of course, Cheap RV Living I watch as well, which kind of gives you the full picture, but definitely has a positive bias to it, as opposed to not necessarily telling you all the bad shit that can happen out here. They're definitely constantly trying to sell the lifestyle. I just want an honest assessment. So if you know of any good creators or documentaries about the subject, I probably have watched a lot of them already, but maybe some other people haven't. So please post in the comments below any YouTubers that you think do a good job of talking about nomadic life and minimalism. which are both subjects I'm heavily interested in, especially now with all of the trouble in the world. It's nice to kind of step outside that box and watch these other vloggers who are not focused on that bullshit, who are just focused on the lifestyle and enjoying what we can, and that we're all mentioning it in our videos, and, you know, including some of the people I've shouted out, you know. But for the most part, I'm more interested in the living our life in these times and being out here and the stories that people are running into. You know, there's a bunch of different, you know, I haven't even listed all the ones I watch on here. But I am interested in hearing from you guys. If you know of any good YouTubers that are van lifers, that are honest about it, that, you know, tell the whole story, whether, not even showing everything, just if they're sitting down talking about their issues and problems that they run into out here, and their solutions. You know, as a community, we can all learn from each other out as YouTubers, and I enjoy that sense of you know, okay, I did this. You know, like I get suggestions whenever I bitch about something that's fucked up. You know, I've already got people diagnose and repair my AC in the comments. You know, and I'll be sure to pass that on to the mechanic when I turn it in to get it fixed. But that's the great thing about YouTube that is still great, is you have that interaction and that feedback when you make videos on things, and that's what I appreciate the most. So that's it for this video. Check out my karaoke stream. I will send out an email to ScottTheTruckDriver.com's email list before I go live. So if you're not signed up there, please sign up, and that way you can be notified. If you're signed up with DLive, you might get a notification as well of when I go live there, but that's my plan. I'll see you all there later this evening. It might be late. I'm on Pacific time, and I still need to make dinner, so, but I'm trying to get this video out before I eat dinner, and we'll go from there. We'll figure this out. We're in this shit together. Have a nice motherfucking day. Shit. And quit fucking up the van life by telling everybody all of our secrets in terms of places to park. Can't park at Walmart anymore, it seems like. And the only reason that's fucked up is because everybody on YouTube is like, hey, I just go to the Walmart. The Walmart's great. Walmart. Now Walmart, not only are they going to make you wear a fucking mask, but you can't park in their fucking parking lot anymore in a lot of them. It's bullshit. So, yeah, while I encourage you to share, don't fucking give it all up, all right? Don't show every little fucking thing, because that just makes all the people that are angry at us fucking, oh, he's sleeping in my fucking street, now you need to go, move. You know, leave us alone. You know, so if you're not into this life, leave the fucking van lifers alone. You know, some people are not even voluntary. That, you know, they do it because they have to, and you're fucking with them. So stop it. You know, worry about your own life and not what people are doing that are living in vehicles. Have a nice motherfucking day. Shit.